Hello, my lovely rose garden, and welcome to Roselin Reviews. I am Avalon Roselin, indie author, and your collector of small-town scares for the evening. Devil's Hill is an anthology of scary stories written by fellow indie author E. Reyes. While I would consider Reyes a friend, please note that this does not impact my review of his work. I am honest in my reviews and expect the same of any friends who review my books. This anthology centers around the titular Devil's Hill, a small town in Arizona known for some unusual happenings, especially around Halloween. Personally, I think this makes it an ideal read for October. I love it when horror anthologies are not only set around Halloween, but are directly related to the holiday and celebrate it in all its gory, campy, scary fun. Something which Devil's Hill does in spades. I also enjoy visual horror anthologies like Trick or Treat and Creepshow, and I think that fans of these movies/shows will find a lot to love about Devil's Hill. Readers will definitely pick up on these sources of inspiration and the distinctive vibes that flavor the stories. That being said, I would also say that if common 80s horror tropes are not your thing, you might want to skip this book, because there is a certain required suspension of disbelief, and if you aren't familiar with the genre expectations of the 80s and early 90s, it might be a little difficult to get immersed. Devil's Hill has a very retro feel to its content and storytelling, with all the violence and gore that implies. Admittedly, Devil's Hill is one of Reyes's earliest works, and so the writing isn't always the strongest. There are a number of errors or small rookie choices that do stand out at times. My main criticism when it comes to Devil's Hill is that it seems to have two framing devices where one would have sufficed. The first story, Satan's Tree, introduces the reader to Devil's Hill and two characters, Dean and his grandfather. Dean has come to stay with his grandfather while attending the local college, and his grandfather finds it prudent to warn him about all the strange occurrences of the town, many of which revolve around an ancient tree that cannot be felled, nicknamed Satan's Tree. The rest of the book is framed as stories that Dean's grandfather is telling him to caution him against any youthful foolishness. Then the second story, The Scarecrow, picks up with a trio of teenage witches who bring a demonic scarecrow to life to devour souls on Halloween in exchange for fortune. This scarecrow features in multiple other stories throughout the anthology, implying that every other story happens on the same night. While Satan's Tree is present in The Scarecrow, I honestly thought that the anthology would have been stronger without this introductory story, and could have just started with The Scarecrow, especially since the tone and vibe of that story better matches the rest of the anthology. I guess Satan's Tree does provide some reasons why anyone would still live in this hellhole of a town, since Dean and his grandfather do have a good relationship. Also, since the final story of the anthology does not circle back to either of these stories to finish them off, they both kind of fail as framing devices, but especially Satan's Tree, since we don't get a few pages of Dean's reaction to all these stories, or any kind of a stinger proving them true, assuming that these are still just stories Dean's grandfather is telling him. Criticisms aside, there is still a lot to enjoy about this anthology. For one, the sheer amount of content. This has got to be one of the largest anthologies I've ever read. The Kindle edition was over 230 pages with 15 different stories. Not all of the stories really landed for me, but by sheer volume, more worked than didn't. And at the very end, Reyes actually talks a little about the inspiration behind each one, which I thought was a nice touch. And while I might not have loved the attempted narrative framing devices, I did love that a few of the stories overlap with each other and bring up the Scarecrow again. That was hands down my favorite part of Trick or Treat, and I'm glad that Reyes included it here. Again, this is one of Reyes's earliest works, so I'm excited to see what else he's written. He is a pretty prolific horror author, and I have a lot of his other books. I'm actually reading The House on Moon Creek Avenue right now, as I desperately try to clear out my Kindle TBR. If you want something spooky, gory, and dripping with 80s and 90s Halloween atmosphere, give Devil's Hill or any of Reyes's other works a chance. That's all I have to say. A short review video, I know. Please make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe for more content like this, and leave me a comment with your favorite trick-or-treating candy, and maybe some recs for horror anthologies to watch this Halloween. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to see your name here or in the description below, please consider joining my Patreon. Your support means so much to me and allows me to continue making content. If you want to support my content in different ways, consider buying my books, donating on Ko-fi, subscribing to the channel, or even just giving this video a like and comment. Any and everything is appreciated so much. Keep growing till next time, Rose Garden!